Hello and welcome back to Out of the Park Baseball 26, where we're doing a novel playthrough of this game, trying to win with nothing but players with terrible personalities. And as our team, we've chosen the Baltimore Orioles, now known as the Baltimore Beeholes. First episode, we went over some of the players we're trying to target, and now I've gone into the trading screen and I have set up some deals. I'm not going to get everybody I wanted, but I am going to get some people I wasn't sure I was going to get. So, a little success, little failure here. The first deal you see on the screen here, Arizona Diamondbacks are really fond of Heston Kjerstad. In fact, everybody is, as I was surprised to find. I'm going to get Zach Gallen. He is on a somewhat expensive contract for me and my sort of budget playthrough that I'm going to end up having to do. But he's solid. He's still young enough. He's got a few years left in him. He is going to be a free agent, so we are going to have to try to sign him. And he's going to want something in the neighborhood of probably low $20 million area. So we're going to make this deal. I'm not going to complete it right now because I'm going to play around with the cash and with the retainment and see if I can just make this deal a little sweeter for us. From the A's, we're getting Zach Geloff for Enrique Bradfield Jr. I think that's just a nice, fair trade. Makes sense for both teams. From the White Sox, we're getting Oscar Colas. And for him, we're giving up Ramon Urias. Another, pretty expected kind of normal trade you might actually see in the real world. The Cubs. Now, this is an interesting one. I almost don't want to do this because it's kind of crazy. They're giving up a lot of 2 to 2.5 star potential prospects because they are absolutely in love with Nick Gordon. And I know they need a left fielder, and they apparently really need this good personality on their team. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do that as is. With the Reds, we're picking up prospects Rhys Hines and Miles Smith, giving away a couple of guys I don't care about. With the Guardians, getting Emmanuel Clase was essentially impossible. So I'm not going to pursue that. I might go after Trevor Stefan. The Rockies, I wasn't able to get anything just right for Brenton Doyle. However, he is attainable, so we are going to pick him up. This is the big one. This is the one I'm most excited about. So giving up our incredible catching prospect Samuel Basallo and getting some pretty good value for Tyler O'Neill and a couple of kind of middling, decent prospects. Picking up Tarek Skubal, picking up Spencer Torkelson, and picking up Will Vest. And also, I've identified Trey Sweeney as kind of almost an essential sort of backup or minor league kind of call-up sort of player. So this is going to be probably the most impactful trade we make, and I am super stoked about it. I will have to sign Tarek Skubal, and that's going to be potentially a little expensive, but it's going to be worth it. I don't have anything with the Astros. Pretty decent deal with the Royals, too. They love Jordan Westburg. He seems to be popular in the trade market. Picking up Kyle Isbell, who can play center for me if I don't get Doyle from the Rockies. And we're picking up a decent closer. Well, he's not going to be a closer. He's just going to be a reliever and even potentially a starter. And a few extra prospects in there. Nothing with the Angels. We are going to kind of look at Michael Kopech with the Dodgers. We'll see how that works out. And we got to do a little more work on this deal for Edward Cabrera and Griffin Conine. Griffin Conine is kind of a prospect. He's looking good in this year's saves, so I'm going to go after him. It's not going to take too much more to get that deal done, but that'll be one we do after we make our other deals. We're going to finish that by putting together bits and pieces of what's left. With the Yankees, there's a ton of players I want to go after, but they're all in the minor leagues, so we'll have to figure that out later. Maybe doing a little simple deal with the Mets for a pretty decent reliever here. That might be a great deal for us. With the Phillies, we're going to be picking up, very excited to be picking up Cody Clemens. I know he doesn't look like much, but he does have some utility. He can start at third for me. He can jump into the outfield. He can jump over to first. So, decent player, decent bat. And then we're also going to be picking up a couple of reasonable little prospects here. Griffin Burkholder's actually got some serious potential if things go his way. This is the trade I'm second most excited about. We're picking up Henry Davis. We're picking up the best bad attitude catcher in the game. And we're also picking up a starter / kind of long relief man that I want, at least in my minor league system. And we're just giving up Kyle Bradish. There's a lot of value in Kyle Bradish, obviously, but for us, this is an amazing deal. So very happy to drop the hammer on that one. And then with the Giants, also excited about this. Kobe Mayo is another player who's very popular around the league. So we're going to get Logan Webb, and I might work on the money here, see if we can get even better of a deal. But he's going to come on and do pretty much whatever we need him to do. And Trent Harris, a totally legit prospect. He's already just about Major League ready. He'll need a little bit of time in AAA. We'll give him a cup of coffee, see how he does. With the Mariners, we're targeting Edward Bazardo. Not the most important, but I am a little short on pitchers. I will come back to the Cardinals. Tampa Bay has a lot of minor leaguers. It's another thing where we're, just going to kind of pick through the bones at the end of this. And I don't think I have anything with the Rangers or Blue Jays. And with the Nationals, I do want to pick up Jose Ferrer and maybe make a couple other little deals with them. But here, it's been all good news so far. Until now. I want to show you something. If I propose taking Mason Wynn off of their hands, they don't like that in any way. So I say, okay, you can have Gunnar Henderson. It's a brilliant trade for them. They won't even throw in somebody else. Like, they want Gunnar Henderson and somebody and somebody. So let's say I lose my mind. Then I throw in Adley Rutschman. Still not happy. Well, it doesn't matter if I retain their salaries. They're not making anything. Because watch this. When I try to make this work, this also does not work. So let's say I throw in Cedric Mullins, pretty popular center fielder. They need a center fielder. They're in trouble out there in the outfield. Still no good. So, unfortunately, we're not getting my favorite player in Out of the Park baseball. So, goodbye, Mr. Mason Wynn. And even worse, when we try to go after Lars Nootbaar, who's more of like an integral piece that, so is Wynn, but Nootbaar is also a guy we need, and he's not usually that hard to pick up. They really want something for him. And I might have to do that. So, mixed bag, but overall great results. Better than I expected. I'm going to make a lot of those trades I showed you, and I'm going to fool around, see what kind of deals I can make for myself, and then we will be back. Quick trading update. We did have a few interesting successes here to help make up for the Mason Wynn debacle. We got Emmanuel Clase. And to get him and Trevor Stefan, we had to give up Adley. We also gave up Dylan Carlson, Gregory Soto, and Ryan Mountcastle. That deal did shed a lot of payroll for us. Unfortunately, we didn't get the value we were looking for out of our star catcher, but that will have to do. We did, as a consolation prize from the Cardinals, pick up Lars Nootbaar. In order to do that, we had to give up Cedric Mullins, Zach Eflin, Ramon Laureano. So not exactly that painful, and we knew we were going to get some value out of Cedric Mullins. I was just happy to get rid of Zach Eflin's $18 million. I was very fortunate that the Cardinals were open to that. And then in order to get our center fielder, we did have to give up Colton Cowser in that deal, but we also did pick up Jared Thomas, who is certainly an interesting guy to keep around in the minors. And we were able to offload Ryan O'Hearn as well, which is nice. But the most exciting part is what to do with Gunnar Henderson. So there were two ways we could have gone on this. This was a crazy, crazy, crazy deal with the New York Yankees. So Gunnar Henderson for all of these players, including Ben Rice, who I needed as my starting, not my starting backup, but my actual like roster backup. Jay Savina, and then a bunch of pretty solid guys here who are just all prospects. And all of their cash, $75 million. This was an interesting deal because I think that would probably be worth it, considering what Gunnar Henderson is worth and considering what the Yankees can afford. Although it is just a bit unrealistic and crazy. And on top of that, I didn't really need any money. I've already got all my budgets maxed out from shedding payroll. So we went another route, a very unexpected route, a player I didn't even mention because I didn't think we were going to even take a shot at him. And that's Manny Machado. So that's what we're doing with Gunnar Henderson. We're getting Manny Machado 100% retained. So the fact that this is a horrifically bad contract, at least probably in the last 4 years of it, it doesn't matter to us. Padres are paying for all of it. And they're also throwing in a relief prospect named Vic Domingo, who actually looks quite solid. And I'm very happy with this. So we're going to go ahead and complete this trade. And welcome aboard the unexpected Manny Machado. Just a quick piece of business before we get into Meet the Team. I did misspeak when I was talking about the trades a moment ago. Zach Eflin is not being taken on by the Cardinals. I'm retaining 80% of that and also 95% of Cedric Mullins. Maybe that was wishful thinking on my part. However, we do have enough money. We've got our budgets maxed out. We've got a little bit of spare change for who knows what. So I'm not feeling bad about that. Let's go check out our lineups because they are less embarrassing than our pitching rotation and bullpen stuff. At catcher, Henry Davis. We've already talked a bit about him. I'm glad I don't have to fully stalk him. But on the other hand, once you get him, you just kind of, I don't know, I'd kind of like to stalk him. But we got him, so that's fine. Corey Lee. He is a perfectly suitable backup catcher. It says 2 stars. I'm fine with that. Lars Nootbaar DH and Spencer Torkelson in left because he's got slightly better outfield ratings. Brenton Doyle in center, Oscar Colas in right field, who is a little bit sus, but he does have that nice arm. We'll see what his bat does. If he plays like he started out last year, then it should be fine. Jackson Holliday at second, of course. The slightly untested Trey Sweeney at shortstop. You can see the ratings. It might work, it might not. It's one of those kind of coin flip situations. Manny Machado, of course. Still looking strong. I'm hoping to get 3 good years out of him. We'll see what happens. And then I did pick up Jonathan India, and he's coming over to first base for us, at least for the time being. Backups, we've got Kyle Isbell, probably the strongest backup in the league at this point. He's going to be a little expensive, but it's nice that he can step in anywhere, and he at least has a serviceable bat. Our, let's not call him super, but kind of super utility man. He can play first and third. He can play left and right. Don't put him at second short or center field, but, that might have to happen. He's got a good enough bat, got a little power. Best we could do for the time being. Schmidt, our backup infielder, much more solid. He can certainly step in, play third base, second base. He can even play shortstop if Trey Sweeney gets off to a slow start. So there are the batters. Here's the lineup. If you wanted to take a look at them, I just let the AI decide, and I think that's reasonable. I'll probably tweak that a bit. And on to the pitching. Now, please keep in mind, we are getting back Grayson Rodriguez. We're getting back a couple relievers, and I'll show them. But for now, we've got a very strong starting 3, Skubal, Webb, Gallen. But then things start to fall apart. Trent Harris, looking at the ratings, you would certainly throw this guy in the majors. At least give him a shot on your team. I think even if you weren't doing a challenge, I think he's just decent enough to be a 5th starter. However, he has 3 innings at Double-A. He doesn't even have that much experience at High A or Single A, and barely any in rookie ball. This is not a man who's thrown a lot of baseballs. Somehow, he's 26 years old, and he looks good. So let's see if Trent Harris is some kind of anomaly. We're going to bring over Bailey Falter. He's a kind of your archetypal fifth starter sort of guy. I do like my fifth starters to be a little better than that, but that's okay. Emmanuel Clase, best closer in the game. Maybe Edwin Diaz has something to say about that. Felix Bautista as our setup man. We may do a dual stopper role with these two, get them both a ton of innings. We'll see how that plays out. Will Vest, super solid. He's probably my best non-closer type reliever. Sean Reed Foley, decent. Lucas, can't pronounce it, also decent. And then things get a little weird. So we've got Michael Plasmeyer is our emergency starter. He's nothing special. He doesn't have any success above high A in several years. So we're hoping he'll, have a little redemption arc, breakout season, whatever. Roman Angelo has not pitched above high A. Welcome to the Baltimore Beeholes, Roman Angelo. And Chandler Champlain, not as big a sin to bring him up. He actually might be deserving of a cup of coffee at this point in his career. So I don't feel too bad about that one. Let's remind ourselves that not all is lost. Grayson Rodriguez, Zach Geloff coming back. I'm not sure where we'll put him. There's always that, where do I put this guy in the infield thing in this game, which I love, that dynamic, and he's going to be part of that. Andrew Kitteridge, making $9 million this year. We have an option. He's not actually signed through next year. That's a team option, so I'll probably be dumping him. I don't think anybody wants him. I would be super shocked if anybody would take on that salary. Jorge Mateo will eventually be coming back in a couple of months. We will find a job for him. Trevor Stefan, 2 to 3 months. It's going to be a while before we see him. Albert Suarez, if you remember him, he's that fifth starter looking kind of guy. And then Ricky Vanasco, who could end up being a decent fifth starter, emergency starter, long reliever type. We'll see how that plays out. But bottom line is, in a couple of months, our pitching staff is going to look quite a bit better. As you can see, I do have some prospects. Anybody who is in caps is anybody on my short list is somebody who has that personality we're looking for. Notice in high A, we've got a bunch of guys who may be coming up. Not so much in A ball. Got a little bit of depth over here in rookie ball. So that's our starting point. That is probably what we're going to field on opening day. So don't expect a lot of success. We have had a heck of a trading season. I think we did about as good as we could, keeping a little bit of money. We've actually raised our fan interest somehow by dumping all of our popular players. We're up to 84 from 82, which is actually kind of nice. I think I may go ahead in that case and raise my ticket price to $40 and see what happens. I think that might be fine. I like our budget. I like most of our team. And I think we stand a chance this year. So I'm going to sim through the rest of the preseason. And if anything happens, I'll let you know. And then we will take the field. It's been a few days of deal making later, and I've managed to raise my money by offloading a few contracts, picked up a few not really important but minor league players who might come up in my organization, and we've made some offers. So the obvious steal here, Jackson Holiday, 12 years, $130 million. I feel bad about that one. There's no way on earth he should be accepting that, but sometimes you got to pay Tarek Skubal, and he wants $32 million a year. It was very difficult to get him to take that $32 million. I was nickel and diming him for that. But a bunch of other fairly reasonable contracts. Lars Nootbaar is going to take $10 million a year for 5 years, it looks like. Spencer Torkelson will take $9 million. So those are good deals. Great deal with Henry Davis, $4.6 million per year for 7 years. So yeah, these are some interesting deals. Trey Sweeney ended up being just a little more expensive than I expected for 7 years at $30 million. But these are sustainable. We'll be able to hold on to these contracts, it looks like. And we're up to 23 million. So if we get that event where one of your players is trying to raise money for charity, we can actually, I think that's cost 16 million. We'll be able to do that. And then we'll be able to pay off some of these personnel who we've replaced here. It looks like everyone has signed on now, so I've got my entire staff. Let's see what they look like. So legendary, outstanding, legendary, excellent. I'll take that. We have nobody struggling with each other, and we've got a number of really good relationships. So another thing I can do is I can fire Mike Elias, and I can grab somebody who's just going to boost these numbers even more. And that's something I am going to do right now. That's going to cost me millions, isn't it? Yeah, down to 20 million. But that's okay. That is absolutely going to be worth it. So I'm going to go find an assistant GM who has all the personality traits I need. And then if I'm really lucky, I can make maybe one more deal. I've been trying like heck to get Ben Rice off of the New York Yankees to be my backup catcher. As it stands right now, I only have two. I've only got Corey Lee to back up Henry Davis. And then my next catcher is down in high A. So it would be really nice to get one more qualifying catcher. There's just so very few in the game. So I'm going to go scrub around for some 2-star catchers and see if any of those guys work. It is now March 27th, which is our opening day, playing Toronto. We have simmed past the official opening day where the Dodgers play the Cubs overseas. And there have been a couple little changes I want to go over, especially in the pitching staff. We're looking at the strategy now. I didn't change anything major over here. I'm not sure I changed anything, actually. I'm just going to let the AI handle the fatigue stuff. I've kicked up stolen bases by just 1 pip. We don't have a lot of super strong base runners on our team, so I'm being conservative with that. I have adjusted up the players who can steal bases and adjusted down the players who can't steal bases or who are bad base runners. None of this hit and run, sack bunt stuff. Get rid of that. We are going to play some shifts. We're not going to do much of playing in. I don't love doing that. I'm not sure whether you should guard the lines or not. That's interesting. We're not intentionally walking. I don't even know what pitch around is supposed to mean in this game. We are hooking our starters. We're leaving that in the middle. I'm not sure where to put that. I have some strong pitchers and some weak pitchers, so we'll just see how many innings they're putting up, how many pitches they're throwing, and adjust that as needed. We are going to hook our relievers pretty quick because, of course, they already have to face 3 batters, I believe it is. We're not going to do pinch running because I don't have a lot of strong runners. We are going to do a little bit of pinch hitting and a little bit of pitching and batting platoon type matchups. And on that subject, I did want to go back into the graphical depth chart here. So I have done just a little bit of platooning after looking a little deeper into things. So Kyle Isbell and Brenton Doyle are going to share center field. Doyle's going to play every 3rd game at center, and then Kyle Isbell's going to play every 7th game against lefties. And we have Torkelson against the lefties in DH and Nootbaar against the righties. Mainly, I just want to get Nootbaar some time in the outfield. And then Clemens and Schmidt switch with each other depending on whether it's a lefty or righty day. And I have added just a few little days for my guys to get some playing time. I didn't want to go too crazy with that or with micromanaging that, but I do want to ensure that especially Clemens, but also Schmidt, that they get some playing time, and that will help me kind of further evaluate how they're doing. On the pitching side of things, we have sent down a couple of our less experienced guys. Our rotation now has, and I don't know how to say his name, Mike Vasil. He's going to be our 5th starter. We were able to pick him up in a trade last minute. I also signed Tyler, I believe it's Tyler Sear, off of the free agency list. And he's only 2 stars, but, you know, he looks fine. He's probably going to do better than somebody with, like, no experience above A-ball, obviously. So there you have it. I haven't totally decided on whether I'm going to try a dual stopper role with 2 righties. If it was a righty and a lefty, it would be a no-brainer. But we're just going to start out with this. We're going to see how that goes. And the only other thing I wanted to cover is fan interest. It bumped all the way up to 94, and that was just because I signed a bunch of players. And I did want to talk a little bit about exploits or arguably exploits that I may have used. The first one would be the Jackson Holiday contract. So we're kind of, the first few years sort of simulates an arbitration, and then his sort of regular salary through his first part of his career is 13.5. Obviously low. You know, a guy like him, it could be a little questionable, but I mean, he shouldn't be signing that kind of contract. That's way too team friendly. But the Scooball contract is just killing me, like I said before. So I do consider that a little bit of an exploit. And then the other thing I did was I did pick up a couple players off the waiver wire. And the reason for that was putting them in a shop trade along with veterans who are on salary or who I have to dump according to the rules. Mixing those two together and shopping them that way, I was able to not have to eat their entire salary of the veteran. I was able to hold like 85% or 90% of it. And so that did help save a few $1 million. Is that an exploit? Sort of, because I picked people up off the waiver wire who are on minor league deals, which is kind of weird already. And then I did use that with no intention of using them as players. But I don't feel terribly bad about that. There were a lot of exploits I didn't bother trying to use. And I did keep the trading sort of in the realm of the mortal universe in which we actually live. So I feel pretty good about not gaming the system too hard. I definitely do not have a very strong team. If we go into the preseason predictions, though, AI thinks that we're going to play over 500 ball. So that's pretty neat. It thinks Tarek Skubbal's going to pitch really well, and that's the only other mention we get on here. It's got Judge and Brent Rooker cracking 50 home runs. So this could be an interesting year. Over in the National League, it's got the Dodgers winning the World, which they should. They should be winning 100 games. My gosh, that team is insane. So, time to play this opening day. It's going to be Tarek Skubal against Kevin Gausman. Gausman? Oh gosh, I need to watch more baseball. And let's see what happens. Okay, we start out with a loss, 6-4. Let's see what happened here. So they hit 4 home runs off of us. That's pretty neat. At least none of my relievers gave up any runs. Okay. Back to the schedule. We're going to play out this 4-game series. I think it's Logan Webb up next. Oh, cool. Ricky Vanasco's ready to come off the IL. All right. Let's go ahead and throw him real quick into a rehab assignment to the minors. And let's get back to the schedule. So we won 3-2. Yeah, Logan Webb pitched 7 innings of 2-run balls, 6 Ks, only 4 walks. Not too bad. Who hit for us? Looks like Jackson Holiday, Kyle Isbell. Actually, Isbell got his home run last game. So yeah, mostly just Jackson Holiday. Good deal, good deal. I would really like to win this series, or at least tie. Okay. A 2-3 loss. Zach Gallen put up 10 Ks in 5.2 innings. That's quite good. Lars Nootbaar cracked 1. Very nice. And let's just tie it up. I'll settle for a tie. Okay, so we're going to start the season 1-3. Not amazing. Trent Harris, first major league start. I mean, he didn't get shelled too bad. He lasted 6 innings, gave up 3 runs. This is a respectable first start in the majors, so that's fine. He did lose to Max Scherzer, though. I mean, who's at least 80 years old, so that's got to feel a little bad. He gave up a home run to Vlad, who is up to 4 home runs already, and he's only played 4 games against us. So that's wonderful. Let's see if we've got any interesting news in here. I've got all the league news going. Okay, nothing super interesting for us. So, starting out in the cellar, I will sim out this month and then probably all of April, or at least most of it. And then we'll check back in and see how the B-holes are doing. And that's going to be the end of part 2. Thank you, everybody who's watched this far. I'm still having a blast doing this, and I'm really thankful for everybody who watches this, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Take care.